Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and depending where you are joining us in the world, welcome to another live stream coming to you right after the long weekend. And Bitcoin breaking over $30,000 today for the first time since June 2022. So that would make it in about what? That would make about 10 months since Bitcoin has gone over the $30,000 mark. So people rejoicing. We're going to look into what's happening and why this is happening. What's happening with the Bitcoin hash rate. We're going to look at Coinbase taking on or adopting the Lightning Network. We are also going to be looking at Robert Kennedy Jr., who is a candidate for the United States presidency, and he is a nephew of John F. Kennedy, the assassinated president of the United States, who's come out and spoken about the tyranny of CBDCs and why they are a threat and why governments who do adopt CBDCs could be banning and seizing Bitcoin. We'll get into that, plus a market update and also some Twitter highlights as well as some adoption highlights. So, without any further ado, welcome to today's show and let's get the show on the road. All right, first up we have Bitcoin tops $30,000 mark for the first time since June 2022. Okay, so this has happened now. As you guys know, Bitcoin has been going on a bit of a run this year. It's been up 79% from its all-time low of about, what was it? I think it touched the 15,900 or something. But from around the $16,000 mark, it's gone up almost 79%, and soon it'll be 100%. Now, people saying, why is this? Well, there's a number of reasons. Obviously, we've got the global financial crisis, we've got banks collapsing, we've got de-dollarization happening around the world, which I did a video about last week. Watch that video. It's about a 20-minute video explaining how the world is de-dollarizing. And you've got the exact environment that Bitcoin was created for. So it makes sense for people to start putting their and hedging their money into Bitcoin and why this is happening. Plus, you've got also the hash rates of Bitcoin going and the difficulty adjustment is getting harder and harder. These are all things that make the Bitcoin network stronger. If you want to understand what the hash rate, what the difficulty rate, all these different things are spoken about, I invite you to download a free book called Inventing Bitcoin. Look it up. It's a free book and an audio book. You can get the PDF as well as the audio for free. It's from swan.com, who are a Bitcoin investing company. And we're not sponsored by them, but just get their book. And I really recommend the book. It's a great read. It's about 4 hours long and explains to you how the Bitcoin network works. So because of all this happening, Bitcoin is now starting to come up and start to rise. Plus, we've got the halving, which is about a year from now. So people are starting now to realize, hang on, this is happening. And as we always know, if you look at the history of the Bitcoin cycles, you'll see leading up to the halving, the Bitcoin price starts to go up. And then after the halving, Bitcoin starts to go on a run. All right, next up, we've got Coinbase CEO suggests that, or it says that they're intending to integrate Bitcoin Lightning Network to their exchange. So, look, Brian Armstrong, Brian Armstrong has revealed that he intends to integrate Bitcoin Lightning Network. The Coinbase CEO tweets that his Twitter posts get cleared automatically once every 6 months. Armstrong tweets was a response to Wicked's concerns about the former's silence on Bitcoin. So look, he's been in the spotlight, and as you guys know, most of the CEOs of exchanges have been in the spotlight, whether it's Brian Armstrong, whether it's, obviously we know about Sam Bankman-Fried, CZ from Binance. A lot of these guys get attacked and targeted by mainstream media. Now, Brian Armstrong has been targeted because he hasn't spoken a lot about Bitcoin, speaks a lot about all the old coins. So the Bitcoin maxis start to go at it and say, hey, these guys are a scammer, these guys are shitcoiner, blah, blah, blah. So there's a bit of a war that happens on Twitter. It's actually quite interesting to watch if you get on there. But basically, he's come out and said, no, we're looking at integrating the Bitcoin Lightning Network into our exchange because the Bitcoin Lightning Network is the layer 2 network that will enable Bitcoin to become a real-world digital cash. All right, next up we've got Mr. Robert Kennedy Jr., who is now he's in the running. So he recently announced he's running for the presidency, and he basically said governments could ban seized Bitcoin. CBDCs could lead to financial slavery and political tyranny. Now he then goes on and quotes that just like back about 90 years ago when governments did seize gold off the U.S. Citizens and U.S. Population. He's saying that this can actually happen again if governments introduce CBDCs. He also goes on to talk about all the things that we've been telling you guys, which is that with CBDCs, governments can now will be able to and I'll read it out to you. It says right here, will allow governments to surveil all our private financial affairs. The central banks will have the power to enforce dollar limits on our transactions, restricting where you can spend money, where you can spend it, and when money expires. A CBDC tied to digital ID and social credit score system will allow governments to freeze your assets or limit your spending to approved vendors if you fail to comply with arbitrary dictates like vaccine mandates. So Robert Kennedy is anti-vax, or he's a vaccine critic, and he goes on to say what we've been saying to you guys all along. These CBDCs are a danger to humanity. They are a tool for slavery, and they will be used to make people comply. And then they comply, they get kicked out of the financial system. They get sanctioned by their own people, like we saw in Canada with the trucker protesters. And once you get locked out of your own financial system, you're pretty screwed in your country. You can't do anything, you can't eat, you can't drink, you can't do anything like that. So this is why, again and again and again, I say you need to be holding some wealth in Bitcoin, in cold storage wallets where nobody can control what and where you can spend it on. People don't realize the freedom that Bitcoin gives you, because that is what the whole decentralization of Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is a decentralized network that nobody can control, meaning you can spend your money with whoever you want and nobody can stop it. That is true financial freedom. Alrighty, guys, let's look at the bubbles for the week. Okay, what we're seeing here, and I haven't really looked at this. We're seeing a sea of green with a lot of cryptos on the way up. Okay, Phantom R79, RNDR 20.8, ING 12.4. What do we got? CRV 12.8, Engine 9.9, Gate 8.2. A lot of these cryptos are pumping at the moment, because obviously when Bitcoin runs, the rest of the cryptos follow. Now, what's happened here in the last 24 hours? We're seeing 6.19% in Bitcoin, and it's sitting now at $30,061. Now, 6.17% up in 24 hours. Meanwhile, Ethereum is only up 3.2. BNB is up 5.93. XRP is up 4.1. Doge is up 3.2, and I don't know what Litecoin is doing, but everything, as you can see, guys, everything is in the green. All right, now we've got the fear and greed index. We are going to starting to get to the higher level of greed right now at 68. Remember, a month ago it was 33. Okay, now we're at 68. So it's actually doubled, or more than doubled in a bit. So we are definitely in the greed right now. Does that mean we are out of the we're out of the bear market? I don't personally think so. I think we're still going to be in there for a little while, and this is just a bull market pump. So right now, if you want to be taking profits, if you are in profit, you can. We've been telling people to buy Bitcoin all year last year. So those that bought 15,000 would have doubled their money almost right now. All right, now moving over to the Twitter highlights, and I just forgot that I did not put any of the banners up. Okay, Twitter highlights, guys. Michael Saylor, again, the Bitcoin evangelist. MicroStrategies has acquired an additional 1,045 Bitcoins for $29.3 million at an average price of $28,016 per Bitcoin. As of the 4th of the 4th, 2023, MicroStrategy holds 140,000 Bitcoin, acquired for around $4.17 billion at an average price of $29,000 per Bitcoin. So right now, Michael Saylor is in profit in all of his Bitcoins. Because he dollar cost averages in, and he looks and he just keeps buying on a regular time, and also looks for the dip. He's got 140,000 Bitcoins at an average price of 29,800. So when Bitcoin reaches a million, or when Bitcoin reaches $300,000, he would have 10x his 4.7. So his $4.17 billion would become $41.7 billion. That's how you become mega rich. This guy understood early on, and he went all in on Bitcoin. And then you've got CZ saying to him, DCA wins. We'll be saying to you guys, you need to be DCA in. All right, we've got another person here, which is Kyle Ridehead.ace, and he said, don't get caught up in the hype of cycles of technology. AI is amazing. Learn to use it 100%, but don't stop learning, allocating to crypto and Web3 because of this new shiny tech. Now is the time to learn, build, allocate in Web3, not when the next hype cycle of Web3 comes back. So basically, he's been saying what we've been saying all along. This is the year to be accumulating, guys. This is the year to be buying good, solid, long-term projects, because when we have the bull market coming in about 12 months from now, the halving coming 12 months from now, the bull market will probably go into full ramp probably 6 months after that. So we're talking about 18 months from here to 24 months, 18 months to almost to 36 months even. We're going to have a crazy bull run, and people are going to say, man, I wish I got Bitcoin under 30. You can't get Bitcoin under 30 right now unless we have a drop, which I know we will. But just remember, there will come a day when people say, I wish I bought Bitcoin under 30 grand. Last one for the Twitter highlights, guys, we have Dennis Porter, and he goes, the state of Kansas has pulled off a surprise victory and become the first in the nation to pass the right to mine bill in both the House and Senate. I hope to join Sarah Huckabee for signing ceremony soon. So basically, Kansas in the US, the state of Kansas in the US, have signed a bill that allows people to mine, and no one can stop them. Now, even though technically you can mine in any country, in any state, as long as there's no laws against it, no one can stop you from running a computer, right? I run a computer, and I run my own Bitcoin node to protect the network, so no one can really stop you from running a computer. However, the reason why these guys are doing this is because there could be future leaders that want to make it illegal, like we've seen in China. Then they've gone back against it. Now we've got Hong Kong that's bringing exchanges. It's all a crazy world right now. But this is what we love about it, the excitement and knowing that eventually we're going to win. All right, and for the last section for today, guys, we've got the adoption highlights. All right, so first up, we've got... Bitcoin difficulty and hash rate mark all-time highs as miners' revenue increases. So Bitcoin mining difficulty increased for the fourth time in a row and reached a new all-time high. The network's hash rate has also continually pushed to record highs. Bitcoin miners are seeing increased revenues from block subsidies as the price of Bitcoin increases. So what we're talking about here is very simple. Because, so the way that the Bitcoin network works, as more transactions got to get validated, it becomes harder and harder to find a hash and find a Bitcoin. This difficulty in hash, or find a hash for the blockchain, this difficulty is elastic. So it goes up and goes down depending on how much transactions there are. Now, why is this good? Because it allows, on average, each block to be written in around 10 minutes. And every time a block is written, at the moment, you're getting about 6.5 Bitcoins. In a year's time, it'll be 3.25, so it'll be coming half. So these 10-minute blocks is what allows us to predict of how long it is before the next halving and how much time it is before the next Bitcoin becomes less and less available. The hash rate also helps in terms of protecting the network. Again, like I said to you guys earlier, if you really want to understand this stuff, okay, and look, I've read this book and still I can't explain it. I kind of understand it internally, but it's hard for me to explain. Get the book Inventing Bitcoin. It's a free book. Download it, get the audio book, read it, listen to it, whatever it is that works for you. But it will explain to you in detail how these work in simple layman's terms. I need to go back and read it again. But basically, when we have an increase in hash rate when we have an increase in difficulty rate week after week or fortnight after fortnight, it means that the network is getting stronger and stronger and more protected. So it's a good sign for the network when the difficulty gets higher. Next up, we've got Japan approves white paper for Web 3.0 to promote industry growth in the country. So Japan has the ruling party of the ruling Liberal Democratic Party of Japan has published a white paper with recommendations for the development of the country's industry, which has become part of the national strategy under the administration of Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. So basically, we've spoken about Japan in the past, and some of their cities have already signed memorandum of agreements with a number of projects out there. Now the country as a whole has signed off on a white paper of what they're going to do with Web 3.0. So this is all moving in the right direction. And last but not least, I think we've spoken so many times about different luxury brands, and another luxury brand bites the dust by accepting crypto as payment in their new Miami store. So Ralph Lauren, which as you guys probably know or heard of, it is a luxury brand out of America. They've been accepting Bitcoin and crypto in their online stores for a while, but now they are actually going to be accepting it in their IRL store. So they're in a real life store. And this is happening, this was said on the 5th of April, and people can spend their Bitcoin, Ethereum, Matic, and 12 other cryptocurrencies when they go there. And this is a partnership with BitPay. So BitPay is a company that's really forging in the world ways for retailers to use Bitcoin to pay and crypto to pay. That's it from me, guys. That's the news, Twitter, and adoption highlights for the day. As I always say, stack sats and stack banks. Peace out. Stay crypto and see you guys. Actually, I won't be here on Friday. I'm on a 4-day business retreat or seminar, whatever you want to call it. So we'll probably just run a different video for you guys on Friday. So see you guys all next week on Tuesday. Peace out. Have a great week.